Welcome to part 2 of nail day. This is the full Gel X application. Go to part 3 to see how I paint these crisp Frenchies. So same as part 1, I'm just continuing to buff out the nail. I'm buffing off the extra gel that I wasn't able to scrape off, and as I mentioned before, those are not rings of fire, it was just where the excess gel was. I'm kind of using this bit to also get around my cuticles and kind of push them back, just because I don't have a lot of cuticles to push back, but if you need to use a cuticle pusher, you can go ahead and do that. I usually do more prep work than this and clean my nail plate a little bit better, but I didn't have time this time. This is what they're looking like after all the buffing is done, and I'm just putting some rubbing alcohol on this little scrubby brush and scrubbing all the dust away and making sure everything is clean. And that's what they're looking like right now. So we're using the Sculpted Stiletto Medium Tips by Opre, and I'm just making sure they fit perfectly sidewall to sidewall. This is one of the most important things. If they don't fit perfectly, file them down rather than grabbing a smaller tip. And then I'm doing Gel X prep using the silver bottle, and this is the prep that I scrub into the nail to etch it. Remember, scrub, don't swipe. And then this is the pH bonder. This is just kind of the dehydrator. You can just quickly rub that in. And then the primer, I also need to scrub, not wipe in, making sure that's getting in every single crevice. Next, I'm using the Extend Gel. This is the original formula, and I'm just painting a thin layer on all of my nails first. So I'm getting really close to the cuticle, getting really close to the sidewalls, making sure everything is thinly coated. Once those are all on, I'm gonna cure that in the lamp for 60 seconds. And then normally I would just continue on with the gold bottle, but because I'm running out of it, I'm using the Extend Gel Sensitive, which is HEMA-free. So use the gold bottle unless you have a HEMA allergy, obviously. I just swipe that on and then do a little extra at the cuticle, and then I place that at a 45-degree angle, kind of near my cuticle, not on it. And then I just put light pressure until all the glue flows down to my natural nail. And then I bring that under the flash cure lamp, and I flash cure for about 10 to 15 seconds. So I swipe a thin coat down to where I think that my natural nail will be, so that's where the gel is going to flow towards, and then I do the extra scrape just to put a little bit extra at the top. Always start with less than you think, and then if you need more and it's not going on properly, just scrape it off and retry. Don't cure it right away. Just wanted to show you how I deal with the outpour or the spillage on the side. You can kind of see it coming out there. I just kind of, as I was saying before, scrape it off without curing, and then I just try again, because you don't always get the amount of glue right every time, but you want to make sure it's perfectly on there before you cure it. Okay, and then that worked out much better, so I'm going to flash cure that. And this is always so satisfying to watch, so I love adding in the other nails. So once they're all on and they've been flash cured, put them in the big lamp. This is super important. In the big lamp for 60 seconds at least. Sometimes I do 120 seconds. These are a bit pointy for me, although I love them. I did round them out a bit, and I think I'm using a 100 grit file here. And then I'm buffing off the shiny layer with my 240 grit mini sanding band on 7,000 RPMs. This is just to make sure that the gel polish will stick and it's not going to just peel off. So sealing the cuticles is super important. It's what's going to make the gel extensions last, but you have to be very careful, because this is where you can give yourself rings of fire, because I'm using a fine carbide bit and I'm going around the edges, trying really hard not to get my natural nail. But because I'm doing it on myself, it is a little bit harder, so give yourself grace. So to make these look as natural as possible, and so that you kind of can't really see where the fake nail starts, you try and blend it in with your natural nail and make the top of the tip, like the one that hits your nail, I don't really know how to explain this, as thin as possible. And then I'm just scrubbing with some rubbing alcohol again. This is another really good tip. Take a tiny bit of acetone on a brush and scrub that in until it's sticky and tacky, because this is going to kind of melt the tip where you filed it into the nail. I like to really take my time with this and scrub that in. Now I'm just wiping off with an alcohol pad, and we are ready to paint. See you in part 3.